What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is going to be your review for Games People Play Season 2, Episode 6. So listen, we left off on the last episode with MJ getting kidnapped, and we see that he's going through whatever initiation process that he needs to go through in order to be a part of the I don't know why. Listen, I don't know why I can't never. It's the foundation. It's not the agency. I've been calling it the agency all season, I think, but it's the foundation, basically like the whole Illuminati thing. And so we see him going through his whole initiation thing. Now, while that's going on, we find out that Marcus has been continuing with his therapy. He is now doing meditation, and he's really in a better space, right? He's really doing a lot better. He's on an 8-game winning streak with the team, and he's not in any trouble, right? We find out that he is being honored by his hometown of Oakland, and that they're retiring his jersey. So we see him talking to his father. His father's like, I'm proud of you, son. I can't wait for you to get up here. Are you staying here at the house, or you going to rent your own place? And he was like, I'm going to go ahead and rent my own place. I'm still not ready to, I still can't stay at that house. I just miss mom too much. And he was like, I understand, son, but at some point you gotta work through your grief, boo. He said, well, I'm glad you're coming because, I'm going to look forward to seeing you. And I got something I need to tell you. And then we see him with his boo thing. We know he got a boo thing, right? So we find out that him and Eden are still kicking it, but they sort of in that, not really sure what's really going on here because, of course, she's trying to keep things on the low because, she's the boss. Like, it's inappropriate, right? So he decides that he's going to invite the crew to come up to Oakland with him, including Miss Golden Goddess, Mia, MJ, Kareem, and Quita. And they all riding up in a motorhome. Now, they were supposed to be getting this big old tour bus, a luxurious tour bus, but his manager was like, yeah, so all the tour buses were rented. So I had to borrow this from Papa. I said, not they got Papa's Winnebago, child. But they all are just getting on the bus and they just happy to be here, right? We happy to be here. So, at first they get on the ride and Mia is being Mia, she's, working and she's obsessed with this whole foundation situation and she's reading through it and everything. And MJ and them are like, girl, if you don't get your head up out of the clouds and, focus on, have a good time, like live in the moment. We're here to have a good time. Marcus, got us traveling or whatever. So, she eventually gets up and she starts dancing and they having a good time and they pull out the weed and they get to smoking the weed and everything. And they get ready to hit a checkpoint. Everything is all funny games till they get ready to hit this checkpoint. And they, of course, they're trying to hurry up and put the weed away. And I ain't seen nobody with no air freshener now. All I know is that when you smoke some weed, you need to have some air freshener. You need to have that good air freshener so that you are ready for all these types of situations. But I ain't seen nobody with no air freshener. But what I did find interesting was that while they were trying to put the weed out, they also found out that Kareem and Quita done bought the damn money. Now, Marcus was like, well, I'll claim the money if you claim the weed, because I guess he's a millionaire and it'll be, it won't be hard for him as a millionaire to explain why, he riding around with, a suitcase full of cash. And I guess he was like, and y'all can take the weed because, I can't take the weed. That'll be a big thing if I take that hit. But here's where I'm confused. Y'all tell me, did I miss it when Kareem and Marcus had the conversation that Kareem had that money? Because remember, that money came from Kareem's daddy blackmailing Marcus, and Kareem was supposed to be making a drop, but then he realized he thought the man died, so he decided to keep the money himself. I don't remember him going back to Marcus saying, yo, Marcus, I got that money, and Marcus saying, don't worry about it, you can keep it. Because at no point in time did I see Marcus question why they have a suitcase full of damn cash. Now, maybe I missed that episode, y'all, because, maybe I missed it. But y'all tell me if I did. Let me know if I missed it, because, I'm trying to be fair about it, okay? But the police pulled him over, and they get off the bus, And they try to play the Marcus King card. You know, they try to be like, well, you know, this is Marcus King. You know, he played for the Vipers. And the police was like, yeah, I'm more of a hockey guy myself. So he was unimpressed. Okay, he was unimpressed. And they all get off the van, and I mean off the the motorhome, and they got to line up, and the police officers look at all of their IDs. Well, he gets to MJ's wallet, he opens it up, and he sees that foundation card. And once he sees the card, I mean, he plays it off, but he was like, all right, y'all get there safely. And Mia is giving, MJ the side eye, but she don't say nothing, right? So they get on back on the bus, and of course, ain't nobody think nothing of it. I'm sure they thought that, they finally figured out who Marcus was or whatever. So they get on the bus, and, they head on up, they get to the house, and of course, it's a nice house, And by the time they get there, everybody got the munchies, because, child, they were smoking the weed. Everybody got the munchies now. And so they trying to figure out what they want to eat. Well, at this moment, Marcus' daddy rolled in with his new girlfriend. Now, two can play that game. I mean, I said two can play that game. Games people play. Is this like the training ground for the Real Housewives of Atlanta acting school? Because first we had Cynthia Bailey. Now we have Miss Kenya Moore. Because Kenya Moore is playing the girlfriend, right? And she did a good job. She was playing like a real, like, not ditzy, but debutante type character that's just trying to be the perfect little girlfriend. She tells Marcus, oh my goodness, it's so nice to meet you. I always wanted a son. And Marcus is giving her to look like he giving his daddy to look like what's this? Where'd this come from? What's going on with this? So excuse me, y'all. Sorry about that. So we're sitting here trying to figure out, he's trying to figure out where this woman came from, like, who this woman hoppo, you know what I'm saying? So they end up sitting down, because she said that she cooked, child. She brought food with her, and of course everybody is waiting for her to have, like, fried chicken, collard greens, mashed potatoes, corn on the cob, something. Baby, she done pulled out a gelatin salad. I didn't even know that. Listen, do you know how long it's been since I seen a gelatin mold of anything? Like, my mom used to make gelatin when I was a kid. I think the last time I saw gelatin was when I was in the hospital, okay? I ain't seen no gelatin in 50,000 years, and much less a gelatin salad. Who the hell is making a gelatin salad? And then she had meatloaf cupcakes, which were like little meatloaves. They looked, they were little cupcakes, but instead of like icing, the icing was like mashed potatoes. Baby, she was so proud of herself. And even Marcus' daddy was like, yeah, it took some getting used to, but now I really love her cooking. And of course, everybody at the table is looking at her crazy, including Marcus, who's sitting at the other end of the table. He is really sitting there like, what the entire fugazi is going on here? So she said something to the effect of, well, why don't you guys come over in the morning for breakfast? So Marcus was like, oh, so y'all live together now? Now, here's where I have to have a problem with Marcus's daddy. Because it is clear, and that Marcus is still dealing with the death of his mom. Like, he's still mourning and processing. And I don't feel like his response should have been... Because what his response was is that I'm a grown-ass man. I can do what I want to do. How about have a little compassion for your son who literally just found out that you done moved a whole woman into his mama house and he's still grieving? Why did that have to be your response? Like, I understand you want to defend your girlfriend and you don't want her to feel no kind of way, but you also got to understand that that's your son and he's feeling some kind of way. So for his response to basically be like, well, I'm a grown-ass man and I do what I want to do, I thought that was a bit much. So anyway, of course, that... Marcus basically, got up from the table. He had an attitude. And so then, Leon is like, well, I guess it's time for me to leave. And they end up leaving. So later on that night, they outside and they're drinking. They're having a good time. They're playing Never Have I Ever. So the first question was, never have I ever slept with a white person. So, of course, all the guys had to take a shot, right? Then the next, Mia was next, and Mia says, well, never have I ever cheated. And of course, she giving Marcus the side eye. Marcus was like, okay, you got me on that one. I probably need to take a couple of shots, okay? And he's admitting for the first time, I feel like he's really honest and admitting just how much he actually did cheat on his wife, right? Like all last season, he was trying to play that, I can't believe you would think that. It was only one time. Please forgive me. You know, he was playing that like it really wasn't that bad role. But I think he was really taking some responsibility and saying, yeah, I was kind of a shitty husband. Of course, Kareem had to take a shot. And then Kareem gives, you know, wifey look like, I mean, if I'm taking a shot, you taking a shot because of and she was like, what you mean? That was different. And they get to kind of whispering back and forth, but MJ picks up on it. So next is MJ's turn, and MJ was like, well, never have I ever swapped partners. So Kareem gets ready to drink, and he pours a shot for girl, you know, his girlfriend, and she was like, you got to be telling everybody our business. He was like, what? I mean, if I did it, you did it. What's up? And so of course everybody's like, what? Y'all was swapping partners? What? And so Marcus was like, oh, well, you know, Torrin on the team, him and his wife do that. And they just kind of gave each other this guilty look. And he was like, what? What? That's who y'all was exchanging with? And so, of course, now Kareem is really pissed off and embarrassed. He stomps off. She stomps off. And they get to arguing about the whole situation. Because neither one of them are really... Because I didn't think she had really slept with that man, but I guess she really did sleep with the man. I thought she was just pretending for him, you know, to try to make him jealous, but I guess she really went through with it. I don't know. But she was like, you know what, so she made him sleep on the couch, child. So the next morning, everybody gets up, and Marcus is chilling, and there's a ring, you know, there's a ding dong at the door, and it's Eden. She came up to surprise him. And of course he's happy to see her, and they do the whole, you know, oh, I'm so happy to see you, oh, I'm so happy to see you thing. And she didn't realize that he had a house full of people, because again, she's trying to keep the situation on the low. So she didn't even realize that they had a whole house full of people, right? But he says, well, we were getting ready to cook out on the grill. We were on our way to the store to get stuff for the grill, but I can just get him the money, you know, we can stay here. She was like, no, you go ahead, I'll hang out with your friends, you know, y'all go ahead and go get the meat. And so I could understand why Mia had a problem with Eden, but what I didn't understand was why the rest of the ladies had a problem with Eden, because they ain't got no dog in that fight. I mean, Mia was actually friends with the wife, so I could see her kind of giving Marcus a side eye, like, oh, so you done moved on, you got yourself a whole new woman, you know. But they were kind of looking her up and down, kind of gritting on her a little bit, giving her a hard time. And, you know, they were like, so what's up with you and Marcus? And she was like, well, I'm just here as a representative for the Vipers. And they were all giving her the look like, girl, but like, you know that you're here for more than that. So then she was like, well, me and Marcus are just friends. That's it. She was like, I'm going to go ahead and go get some work done. I'm going to go to my room. They were like, you wanted to show you where Marcus is staying? She was like, no, I'm good. But I just didn't understand why they was giving her the hard time. But let me put a pin in that. Let me go back a second. So the night before, while Kareem and his girlfriend were arguing, Miss Golden Goddess and Mia kind of get into it a little bit, because earlier in the evening, Golden Goddess had made a comment about the fact that she had never had a real relationship. And so Mia was like, did you mean what you said about not having a real relationship? And she was like, yeah, you know, I never really did. And she was like, do you think it's because of what Jason did to you? And she was like, I don't know, you know, maybe that's it. Maybe I never trusted a man or whatever. And so she was like, you know, I'm not like you, Mia. I didn't grow up, you know, I didn't go to college, and I don't have a good job, and, you know, I didn't have those types of things. And I feel like Mia might have got offended by that a little bit, or maybe felt like Golden Goddess was maybe, I don't know what she thought, but then she kind of threw it back at her and was like, well, people don't just give me things either. You know, nobody just gave me a job. Nobody pays me to, you know, be all over the internet in my bikini. And, you know, I don't make money that way. Like, I got to hustle for mine. And, you know, Golden Goddess was like, okay, so I see how you really feel. Like, I see how you really feel. And Mia really couldn't understand why Golden Goddess was mad. And I was like, how can you not make that connection. Like, how do you not understand why that's a problem for her? Like, girl, like, that's a bit much what you doing right now. Like, you doing a lot right now, Mia. But anyway, so that was that. And the reason why I kind of forgot that, because I was waiting for them to have some conversation and they never had it. But anyway. So, anyway, later on that day, they're grilling out. Everybody's having a good time. Kareem and wifey make up. She says, listen, you the only person I want to be with. He said, you the only person I want to be with. I didn't enjoy doing that wife swap thing. I didn't enjoy it either. You know, let's just be in love and let's not bring nobody else into our situation again. And it was all love. Okay, great. So then, Daddy comes over, right? You know, they're playing cards. Eden is off to the side, kind of doing some work. And Daddy comes back over with his girlfriend. Marcus must have called him because he was like, well, I'm glad you came through. And he was like, I wouldn't miss a good barbecue. And it was kind of like that uneasy, like you could tell that they were both trying. So he pulls out a picture of his mom. He says, listen, I never got a chance to give you a housewarming gift, but here you go. This will be a perfect. And there's a picture of his mom in like a nice silver frame. And he was like, yeah, you're right. This is sort of perfect. And that damn Kenya Moore gonna say, yeah, I even had the picture touched up so it would be perfect. Marcus was like, what you talking about? My mother was perfect. My mother didn't need no touching up. And, he kind of snapped at her and then he kind of walked off. So, of course, Leon is now standing there like, damn, like we was doing something here and now we right back to square one. Like, damn. So, Eden goes after him. And Eden is like, listen, I get it. You know what I mean? It's hard when you lose somebody that's close to you like that. It's hard to feel like you're still honoring them, but also give yourself permission to be okay. Like, there's nothing that's ever going to replace your mother. You're never going to get over the loss of your mother, but you don't have to live in mourning for the rest of your life either. And of course, there's that balance. There's a thin line there, and we get it. We understand that there's a balance there, but it's okay to move on. Like, and your dad, it's okay for your dad to move on. You and your dad lost his wife, because he had made a comment to Marcus like, yo, she was my wife before she was your mama. Like, don't question my love for her, but at a certain point we all have to move on with our lives, Marcus. And, so Eden was able to kind of talk him down, off the ledge a little bit. And so Leon came through with the girlfriend. And they were able to hug it out, and then they had a nice little moment where they hugged, and then he hugged her, and then they hugged Eden, and then they had a nice little 4-way hug, and it was a good moment, right? So then the next day, we see Marcus at his high school getting his jersey retired. Kareem introduced him. Kareem's so hood, child. He cussing and everything. I'm like, it's kids here. Why are you talking like y'all at the script club or something, Kareem? But anyway, Marcus gave a great speech, and, of course, he acknowledged his daughter. He said, listen, I miss you, but Daddy's going to see you soon. He thanked his friends for being there, and it was a moment. They were all happy for him, and it was a moment. So the next day, they all getting on the bus. They're on their way back home, and, of course, Eden rides back with them, and they all booed up because, hell, ain't no need in trying to hide it. At least amongst them, it ain't no need in hiding it. And, they start telling the story about how on the way up they got pulled over, by the weed man. And they talk about how, he was looking at their IDs. And by the time he got to MJ, they were like, yeah, I guess by the time they got to MJ, they decided it wasn't worth the hassle and they let us go. And Mia, was like, yeah, so what was up with that, MJ? He was like, what you talking about? She was like, what was up with, the police? Letting us go. And he was like, I don't know. You know how it is these days. He probably realized, once he realized he had Marcus King, it was probably more hassle than he thought it was worth. And, it wasn't a big deal. And she was just kind of giving him the side eye like, okay then. So that's what it is, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think. And just so y'all know, this is the third time I have recorded this video because y'all know I've been having some computer issues. So know how much I love y'all. Okay? All right. Peace.